Welcome to the Warning Track Power Hour. I'm Andrew Scaff. He's Mike Werman. He's a medieval historian. I'm a biochemist. Let's talk about sports. Today we're doing our all predictions episode. Are you excited?
I am very excited now that baseball is back. Our long national nightmare is over. International nightmare.
International, yes.
That's still going on. Our national nightmare is still continuing. But baseball is back, which makes that nightmare a little less scary, I suppose.
Well, the nightmare is actually that there wasn't baseball, right?
Yeah, that's
else happening?
That's been by far the worst thing that's happened these past few months.
Exactly.
No baseball.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Yeah.
The 2020 season starts tomorrow, Thursday.
Mm-hmm. At least for the Yankees and Nationals, it starts. For the rest of the people, I think it starts on Friday. But we have this. It's interesting that they still have the kind of pageantry of the opening, like before everybody else. But yeah, I think as we mentioned on a previous episode, you think there will be bunting in the stands?
Oh, yeah. Why not?
Well, Dr. Fauci is going to throw out the first pitch.
Right.
There was a bet that you could make in Vegas. Do you think Fauci will be masked or not? I think it was you had to wait. It was minus 600 mask.
Yeah, I would think he'd have to be masked. Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna be out.
Would you take that one?
Middle. I would say I would pound the he would be masked. It would cost me a lot of he's spending a lot of money to win a very
small amount. Yeah.
Small amount, but I think he's got to be masked, right? Because he's the guy who says to wear masks, and he's gonna even if he doesn't think it's really necessary medically to wear a mask out in the middle of this empty stadium.
Right.
Still technically, I guess, coming into a new group of people. And
I mean, unless he comes down a tunnel that has been unoccupied for at least an hour.
And I think just for the visual importance of him wearing a mask, and if he doesn't, he's gonna get made fun of.
Well, if they picked him to throw out the first pitch, then he's representing the health side of things.
I think he's got to wear a mask too.
So
unless he wears a face shield, I don't know if that would count as a mask.
I think that counts as a face covering.
Those face shield people are weird, don't you think?
It is weird. To me, it reminds me of being in the lab. So if you're sitting in front of the UV table and having to cut DNA gels apart.
Did you wear those a lot?
I had to for that anyway.
Did you wear goggles? Oh, you didn't wear goggles, or you wore?
Well, because you're having UV rays pummeling up to your face as you're leaning over it to work on the table anyway. So if you didn't wear the shield, you would literally get sunburned.
I think one of those welder masks would be cool too.
Yeah, that would be effective against the virus too, right? So it covers around a little bit too.
Yeah, it look cool.
Yeah, stylish.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So season starts. Fauci, Yankees, Nationals, all East. Yeah, the schedule is going to be interesting with all the very unbalanced with AL East, NL East only playing each other, NL Central, AL Central, AL West, NL West.
Three independent regions then, and no crossover outside of the regions until playoffs.
Yeah,
if we get to them, I guess is part of what it's going to be.
And how do you compare one team to another because they haven't played any of the same schedules? So the playoff seeding and the wild card races could be very interesting because maybe if we have certain divisions might be pretty good from top to bottom, they might beat each other up, and so the winning team is not going to be as high as they would for example the AL East or the NL East, where usually the NL they might beat each other up, but they feast on the weaker divisions farther west. But now maybe those weaker divisions,
or just divisions with an extremely weak team, say from previous years, the Marlins.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else in that division is going to have more wins just because they all beat up on the very bottom of the division. So
the AL East, I guess, is a little like that with the Orioles or everything. They're going to be
same kind of thing. Yeah,
pretty bad.
So then the East are paired together, and
perhaps now
the weakest teams.
The Blue Jays are going to be. Who knows? Because I don't know. This is one. Maybe we could talk about this before we get our predictions.
I think there's a prediction associated with this too that we can.
Yeah, where do we think the Blue Jays are going to be playing? Because until today, Well, a few days ago, it was announced that the Blue Jays could not play in Toronto because the Canadian government says, we don't want at first the Blue Jays coming back and forth across the American border where COVID-19 is running rampant compared to Canada. And then we also don't want all those teams that the Blue Jays are playing coming back and forth, especially because they're not being in a kind of bubble situation like the NBA or something like that, where people are just in one small area. So,
and I think Canada, maybe the city of Toronto itself, has a quarantine rule for people coming into the city, and it would be practical for a team to quarantine for several days before a game would be played there. And if they're having to do that every week, then it's not going to work.
And then so just until recently, it seemed like, the Pittsburgh Pirates volunteered to host at PNC Park the Blue Jays because their schedules were fairly complementary. They didn't overlap a whole lot. But that today has been nixed by the city of Pittsburgh, apparently. Because Pittsburgh is another one of those cities now that it's the rates are kind of spiking. So where do you think the Blue Jays will end up playing, or will they have a home?
Right. So I guess one of the they've got a few options. I think they're still talking with the possibility of playing in Washington at the Nationals Park, and then they have their AAA training facility in Buffalo, New York.
Buffalo. I heard the Buffalo would be a good place location-wise, but I'd heard the stadium needed some improvements, especially the locker rooms and things like that, especially to meet those COVID.
Might be a little small, I guess, for the.
Yeah, then you need 6 feet apart in the locker room, and I guess people still take showers at the ballpark. I don't know, but you get to have showers so far apart and things like that. And it's a minor league locker room rather than a major league locker room, so I'm sure it's not as comfortable as it would be at the Rogers Center or at PNC. Also, the other possibility, this is going back a while, was their spring training facility in Florida could. Again, there aren't any fans, so it doesn't really matter what the capacity is.
Right, but then they would be in a state where they have the highest outbreak right now in terms of positive tests. So
Washington D.C. also has had lots of positive tests as well. The whole East Coast has, although maybe Washington's subsiding, whereas like Pittsburgh and stuff, it's growing. So what do you think is going to happen? Do you think they're maybe they'll just be a permanent road team? They'll be the Barnstormers or the.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they go that route, just because that's not something that really happens. So
yeah, and it's not fair to the Blue Jays, but it's also not fair to the other teams because now the American League East would have a lot more home games on their schedule than away games, and that could affect the balance of the wins and losses and the balance of power and stuff like that. So. Yeah, I don't like that.
Well, I mean, they'd still be the team that would hit last if they're the home team, even if they're on the road.
I guess there's that.
So the statistical advantage is slightly towards the home team, so they would still bat in the home slot.
But part of the advantage as well is playing in an unfamiliar setting, traveling, things like that. And if you don't have to do that, I think that's something that I would say the league would try to minimize. Maybe the Nationals Park would be a good idea. I would say spring training facility probably makes the most sense because again they're also the Marlins are down there anyway, the Rays are down there anyway, so we have teams in Florida already, so it's not like the particular problem that Florida would have. The Blue Jays are going to be playing both of those Florida teams already, and all of the teams that the Blue Jays play will also be playing all those Florida teams. So that contamination from Florida is going to happen no matter what.
Right. This may not be as direct and as often, I guess, if they're not there most of the time.
Tampa and Miami probably have. I don't remember where's the Blue Jays spring training. Do you remember what town it is?
Is it Jupiter? I'm not sure. I think I heard that, but I could be wrong. But I don't know. Well, most of them are in like Central Florida, right? Like was it Baseball City? Was the old Royals?
Yeah, I like that one. The amusement park and stuff that they built.
Yeah.
Outside Orlando, Baseball City, Florida. I think it was Haines City was the original name of the town, and then they built Baseball City. I'm kind of sad that the Royals don't play in Florida anymore. Really, they play in Arizona. I think Florida has a little bit of a kind of that older appeal for baseball.
Yeah.
They used to play when we were really little. They played in Fort Myers. That was the town.
Yeah.
And they moved to Baseball City.
I have gone to Arizona to see spring training a couple times, and it was a lot of fun in the practice league. I thought it was great because you can go. It's just install in, the Arizona, the greater Phoenix area.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to multiple games in a day.
I guess that's more convenient, yeah, because Florida, it's a little bit spaced out kind of everywhere.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well, I like the Florida. Anyway, I thought I was thinking, if you wanted to, your kid or something, you can go to Disney World and see the Royal spring training or whatever. But
yeah.
So yeah, what do you think it'll be? Washington, or do you think it'll be someplace else?
I still think that it makes the most sense if they can make the locker rooms in Buffalo work, because it's like that would be like should be the safer location for not contacting as many general people, I think, right?
Yeah.
They should be able to make some kind of locker room situation work there, even if they set up like a temporary thing in the stand somewhere. It doesn't matter. No, they're not using it.
It doesn't matter.
So.
Yeah. And I know Buffalo wanted them. The mayor of Buffalo, I think, made some overtures, and I could see also they could make an arrangement with the Nationals, and the DC government might do the same thing. The municipal government might do the same thing.
See, I'd be surprised if the DC government doesn't have the same thing that Pittsburgh says, though.
Yeah.
As the response.
Yeah. So I think probably Buffalo or Florida is the most likely. So if you say Buffalo, I'm going to say Florida.
Okay. No, that's good.
And it'll probably be DC, but
right. Then we're both wrong now, so that's fine, right?
I'll say Florida.
So first predictions out of the way.
Yes.
Let's go through the divisions and try to pick division winners then for the season.
Okay.
Short 60-game season.
Yeah.
Maybe before we do that, we'll have one other prediction here. Will they play all 60 games? Or will the season have to be abbreviated for virus reasons?
I think if it's abbreviated, they aren't going to have any of the postseason. So I think if they want to have postseason baseball and have a semblance of a normal season, they're going to have to play the whole thing.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm going to be rooting on the side of optimism and say yes, they'll play the whole thing. Since they've had a lot of, the Royals and other teams have had a lot of COVID positive tests already, and they seem to be isolating people pretty well.
The people that have tested positive seem to be recovering well too, and several of the Royals players are already back with the team. Sal's already hitting home runs for the team in summer camp games, and it still seems weird to say that phrase. Summer. Yeah,
and Brad Kellers, I think, is on his way back too,
he was sitting in the stands, but for the first game.
Yeah, so it seems like, again, supposedly from what they tell us about COVID-19, these are the people that could most, likely best weather this disease on average, at least. And so, most of the people who've gotten it, at least what I've said, they were either, very mildly symptomatic or not really symptomatic at all. So,
the hope is that they just, avoid contact with their immune compromised or elderly relatives,
family, older people, things like that. Again, as I said, I'd probably be more worried about the managers and coaching staffs and things like that for long-term effects. But so it seems like they're doing okay with it.
Yeah.
One of the things, again, the rosters are odd. With the 30-man roster, then they're kind of whittling that down. But then they have the 60-man potential roster. And then they also had that idea. Do you remember this idea they were going to have like a AAA sort of group of people in Nashville that any team could kind of call up and use as players? That never came.
I think the last thing I heard was that they're having like a 3-man taxi.
Yeah, they have that
come around with the team, so
they can in case there are. Yeah.
Yeah, so they can be shifted onto the active roster on short notice. Then they won't have to recall them from a AAA park that isn't playing, right?
Yeah, there was like, did you hear about the Nashville plan?
I had not. No, I didn't hear about that.
There was like a thing. This is maybe a month ago that the mayor of Nashville. Nashville is one of the places that wants an expansion Major League Baseball team.
Yeah.
And the mayor of Nashville recently said that maybe they could be like AAA type players that could be almost like free agents playing and training in Nashville that could be called up and picked by any of the teams to to play as but I don't think that's
as fill-ins. Not necessarily, may not really get playing time, but just to be a body if necessary, right?
Yeah, I don't think that really happened, but I think that was one of an idea at some point. But yeah,
it's an interesting idea. Yeah, but it doesn't seem like something that they would do though to me.
No, I don't think so. But yeah, let's start. I guess start with the National League West.
Yeah, let's start there. Do you? Yeah, I think this one's fairly clear for who we would expect to win the division, since the Dodgers have been so much better than the rest of the teams in the West.
Yeah, they just signed Betts today to a big contract for 12 more years.
Yep.
Yeah, the Dodgers have a payroll of, that's I think by far the largest right now in Major League Baseball. And yeah, it seems like the Dodgers are the favorites.
Yeah.
Some people maybe think some of these other teams can maybe challenge for wild cards, but I don't see the Dodgers were favored, I believe, at in Las Vegas at 37.5 wins. Over under was what you could bet. They and the Yankees were tied at 37.5.
Seems like a fairly safe bet
for the over.
Yeah, right. So I think Dodgers seems obvious here to me.
I think Dodgers too.
Well.
Dodgers first place. Thinking their pitching staff, their lineup, it's
tough against anybody.
I think, and I think they're also, because they've had kind of bad luck in the playoffs the past few years, they are really trying to stack the deck in their favor to win a World Series.
Yeah,
with all this talent.
So, how about the NL Central then?
Yeah, this is kind of where it gets a lot dicier, because I think all 5 teams in the NL Central are pretty tightly bunched. Mm-hmm. Maybe the Pirates are probably the clear number 5, but those top 4 are pretty close. In projected wins and losses, they're all maybe thought to be with, between 31, 33, 34 wins for all of them. The Reds have gotten a lot of traction recently, I think, as a favorite.
Our old friend Moustakas.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're in the small park.
Yeah, Mike Moustakas there. Maybe he has a chance at hitting 40 home runs. Over a long season, it'll be 40 home runs. I doubt he can do it in games, but
maybe like 17, 18 then.
Yeah, he might be a home run challenge for the home run lead with that little bandbox of the Great American Ballpark, or whatever it's called now. And it's not Riverfront Stadium anymore.
All right. Last I knew it was still Great American Ballpark.
Great American.
Which I still thought was a pretentious name for a park, and then found out it's an insurance company. It's like, okay, that's dumb.
Yeah, it's still dumb, but maybe not dumb for the same reason. Yeah. The Brewers are also, I think,
they've been solid for several years,
making the playoffs the last couple of years.
Invested in keeping their talent around too. The league MVP Yelich, right?
Yeah, Yelich, and
they basically stole in a trade.
Yeah, they've got
for almost nothing.
Yeah, they've got a lot of good players, a lot of good, some good pitching. The Cubs are, still the Cubs. Basically, not that much different from the team that won the World Series a couple of years ago.
Yeah, their young core is still present, so they should still be a pretty similar team.
I guess they have a new manager, right?
Yeah.
Who's the? It's not Joe Madden anymore, is it?
Right.
So that, I don't know. David Ross is the new manager. Former Boston Red Sox player, right?
Yeah.
And I think I don't know if that's going to make a difference.
No, and then the Cardinals always seem to hang around.
Always seem to hang around. Plus, they have they have a lot of good. They have a good lineup. They have, Paul Goldschmidt and company. I actually kind of like the Cardinals.
Ugh, gross. I can't believe you just said that.
Yes, the hated Cardinals from the Royals. Oh, those St. Louis people think they're so big. But
greatest fans. Come on.
Greatest fans. I don't care for their self-aggrandizing. But I'm gonna go with the Cardinals to win the Central. I think it's gonna be close, but I'm gonna pick the Cardinals. You're
getting kicked off of this screen right now for that pick. Anybody? I could pick anybody. That's who you're going with? No. Really?
I'm going. I don't dislike the Cardinals team that much. Again, it's more of the as you said, the the people that root for the team are sometimes a little bit self-aggrandizing, and
I mostly just take pride in disliking all things St. Louis. So
yeah, and the idea that
raised in the Kansas City area, so that's just
as
natural, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose. But
I think I'll pick the Brewers this year from the Central.
Okay. Yeah, I thought about my second team was I think any of those four. The Pirates. Who even knows about the Pirates? Maybe they could.
Yeah, they could. I mean, short season, anything can happen too, right?
Anything can happen this short season.
It used to be hot for 15 games or so, and you could really throw everything off for anybody else.
Or if one of the teams does very well against the AL Central for some reason,
right?
That can skew the results. Yeah, 60 games. It's less. It's 2/5 of a season basically.
Right.
And
yeah, anything can happen.
Anything less than 2/5 of a season.
Yeah.
So anything can happen.
How about moving over to the NL East?
The NL East.
Another challenging division, right?
Another one of those divisions that is pretty good top to bottom. The Marlins probably, again, like the Pirates, are probably the clear number 5. I think there's a lot of optimism around the Mets this year. The Braves won the division last year. Of course, the Nationals won the World Series last year. And the Phillies are
supposed to be up and coming.
I think pretty good. And then they've been bad a few years ago, but with Harper as
settling in now, maybe in the second year there.
I see the Phillies as being kind of undervalued as a potential National League East winner. I don't know if I'd go so far as to say I think the Phillies will win the division, but I think they're kind of the consensus number 4. I don't think they'll finish 4th. I think they will be higher than that. We'll talk about wild card teams and things like that. I could see them sneaking into one of those positions.
Sure.
And again, of course, one of the big things about the 60 games schedule was that the Nationals started so poorly last year.
It would not have made the playoffs if it was the first 60 games of last season. They were
under 500. I think the first 60.
Right.
I don't really like the Braves.
Well, they had a very good season last year, though.
They did. I don't like the Mets. I'm going to go with the Nationals again, even though they lost Rendon. I think their pitching is still really good.
Right. And typically, you think in a short season, the pitching is going to make the most difference.
Yeah. I'm going to say now. I'm going to go with the Nationals. I'm not confident. I could see the Phillies. If I were a bolder person, I would say the Phillies would win. Actually, I'm going to be a bolder. I'm going to be that bolder person. I'm going to pick the Phillies.
That's good because I actually wanted to pick the Nationals. So
okay.
I was going to have to pick somebody else just to be different. So you freed it up for me to go ahead and take it because I wanted that one. Yeah.
I think maybe the Philly Fanatic and Gritty will
power through.
Yeah. Is Gritty just your favorite mascot, or is Gritty the best mascot there is?
He's got to be way up there, right? I mean, he's just so bizarre.
There's something a little off about him.
There's a lot of things.
He's got those crazy eyes. He could kill somebody at any moment.
Could or has.
Yes. The Gritty guy did, somebody tried to sue Gritty, right? Because he punched
Slugger got sued.
13-year-old kid. Yeah, Gritty was accused of punching a 13-year-old boy, but I think Gritty was vindicated in his.
Have you seen the commercials that they had with did he show up at some children's birthday party or something, and it was just ridiculous. It's just silly, just really ridiculous stuff that they do with this bizarre mascot. It's gonna be terrifying for children though.
Yeah. He's like Oscar the Grouch is kind of on crack.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so.
But yeah, Philly Fanatic is weird enough, but then Gritty's got that hockey vibe. He's
taking a few headshots, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would pick. Yeah. So I'm maybe just for in honor of Gritty. Even though Gritty, of course, is the Flyers mascot, not the Phillies mascot.
Right.
The Fanatic
should probably just be all Philly sports mascots, though, right?
Yes. I have a soft spot in my heart for the Philadelphia fans. and so they're willing to boo anybody. Santa Claus, boo dogs that don't catch frisbees, things like that.
Right. Yeah.
And
deserving
at halftime. Yeah, I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna say Phillies. I'm gonna pick the Phillies.
All right. Before we move to the American League, should we go ahead and pick our wild card teams then?
Okay, let's pick wild card teams. Let's see. So this is, I think, a tough one because again, the schedules are so uneven.
Right.
And how do you compare them? Do you think, is it one of these divisions that where you have a bunch of tightly bunched teams and you have a few of them that are pretty good, or will there be like the West? Well, the Dodgers we think will be up ahead, but will there be a second place team that's pretty good as well because the other teams aren't so good, and the AL West is also a little bit inconsistent, probably talent level.
I think the advantage though comes when there's one team that's exceptionally bad. And then the other 4 teams are going to be higher in the win totals than if one team is good and 4 teams are sort of average.
So I think in that case the Giants are probably consensus the worst team in the National League this year, especially maybe with Buster Posey.
Marlins.
I think the Marlins
are much better than normal.
A little bit better, but again the Marlins are always bad too. So yeah,
they've got a lot to make up with that. That division's really tough.
The division is tough. The Central, I think every team is pretty good. So maybe I would say maybe just the. I'm gonna pick it. I'm gonna go with the Diamondbacks out of the West as the second team, as one of the wild cards, and I'll pick the Nationals again as a wild card.
I think I may stick all in the East.
Ooh.
And because they'd also play the American League East too, that has the Orioles that aren't very good too.
The Blue Jays might be really bad depending on what their home situation.
If their situation is especially tough, may put extra pressure on them, and they may not be ready for that.
They're a young team, yeah.
So I think I'm going to go Braves, and I think maybe. Let's see, Phillies or Mets. I'm going to go Phillies.
We're all picking against the Mets.
Yeah. It's tough. I just don't – they just never seem to have it. I don't know.
Yeah, I think their window was when it was 2015 when they lost to the Royals. That was their best.
They just left their pitcher in a little bit too long. Game 5, yeah. That was it. Never had a chance.
Yeah, never had a chance.
The dark
but that would have only put them within 3-2.
Right.
They would have to go back to Kansas City to win the next 2 games. So I think probably they would have lost the series no matter what. But
probably.
I think, I'm going to pick against the Mets. I like the maybe you're going with gritty as well. So so I have Phillies as the division winner, Nationals as the wild card, the Cardinals as division winners, Dodgers as division winners, and then also the Diamondbacks as the wild card. So,
yeah.
And you have the
Nats as the division leader, the 2 wild cards from the East, then also the Braves and Phillies, Brewers in the Central, and Dodgers in the West.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Let's move over to the AL West.
Yeah, the AL West is interesting. And what it seems like is that people, the Astros are the clear favorites, or should be. Of course, the Astros had those scandals. We don't know how much the cheating of the Astros performed in the last couple of seasons actually led to their success. We don't really know.
Was player initiated? No players were punished. So they're all still there.
Yeah. There
Coaching
are bets
staff and GM the manager and GM were both let go.
Yeah, former Royals catcher A.J. Hinch. Right? Wasn't he the manager?
Right. Yeah. Right. And Jeff Luhnow, I think, was the
Yeah. And there are bets in Vegas that you can make us which Astros player will be the first one hit by a pitch.
I have an Astros question that we'll get to later here.
I think Jose Altuve is 4-1 favorite right now, being a first Astro.
Royals hit 3 Astros in yesterday's game.
And they hit 2 like with the bases loaded, right?
It's
Yeah. I don't think they meant to at that point. That was more
no,
to
I saw the video of it. It was not intentional.
Yeah. So again, if I were a robot, I would pick the Astros to win, but I do not want the Astros to win this division, and so maybe I'm being stupid by not picking them. The Angels are perhaps much improved, but they're still a very top-heavy team. You've got Anthony Rendon. They've got some good, Dylan Bundy, some good pitchers on that. Ohtani, if he comes back and is healthy. Of course, Mike Trout is still there.
Perennial
The
MVP.
perennial MVP. What's left of Albert Pujols is also still walking slowly around Los Angeles. And
warmed over maybe a bit, but yeah.
In the 60 games, maybe he can put it together. He can hit for 60 games.
He doesn't have the grind of the 162-game season.
That's true. He had a long time off. The A's, I think, were surprisingly good last year.
Should be an old guy year, right? I mean,
yeah. I think the A's are, because the A's have a chance, because I think they were surprisingly good last year. They'll probably be solid again. The Rangers are supposed to be on their way up. I think the Mariners are the clear number 5.
Right.
The Rangers are clear number 4. I'm gonna say, because I think the Astros and the Angels are the teams that are talked about the most. I think the A's might sneak in. I'm gonna say the A's are gonna win the AL West.
I think
Oakland.
I think the goal here is to try to outpredict you specifically.
You gonna go the safe bet?
It's a one-on-one.
I think the Astros. You probably should.
I'm taking the Astros then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have to.
You have to.
It's available.
It's available. That's the. Yeah,
you pick first on that one.
That would be the smart pick. I'm picking first on all these. It seems like.
Yeah, no, I think I need to pick first on the rest of the AL then. I think.
Okay, if you want, I can pick first too. It doesn't matter to me.
Oh no.
Okay, you want to pick first? Okay, so
I'll pick that. Yeah.
So you want to do the AL Central?
Well, I mean, we can still talk through them first anyway.
Yeah, we're talking about the AL Central.
Twins,
yeah, what do you think of the Central?
Twins won last season.
Mm-hmm.
I still think that they are playing above their probably potential.
I think the Twins, as we talked about this a little bit off the air, I think the Twins tend to be good when nobody thinks they're going to be good, and they tend to crumble. Especially this has been true in the last few years.
Yeah.
They tend to crumble when the spotlight is on them. But I think they're predicted right now to win the division by most, by Vegas and most odds makers and most pundits. But yeah, the Indians
and things like Fangraphs and the projections
and stuff like that. Yeah, the stat
usually have them. Yeah.
Yeah, they like the Twins. They do, yeah, the Twins are a kind of sabermetric darlings somehow. I think the Indians are probably the clear number 2. They've been the powerhouse in the division over the last decade, with on average, with a couple of the Royals rising up every once in a while, the Tigers a couple of good years, the Twins a couple of good years, but the Indians have always been pretty decent, even though they seem to trade away a lot of their good players.
They have solid manager who's been multiple World Series, different teams.
Yeah, Francona has had he's a good manager. The White Sox are seem to be the consensus number 3, and some people think the White Sox might even challenge the Indians. I don't know if I see that happening. I think
they've been investing pretty heavily in young players, international players especially.
That's true.
Supposed to be making great strides but they have not really shown that yet in the last.
No, they haven't really shown they're better than the Royals too much yet. And I think the Royals are the number. Usually, most people think the Royals and the Tigers are the bottom 2, but maybe the Royals above the Tigers. It seems like the Tigers are maybe more consciously, I don't know, tanking's the right word, but not worried about doing very well so they can acquire more draft picks under Dayton Moore. I think the Royals have always wanted, at least to appear to be, trying to contend, even if most people realize they probably aren't contenders. They didn't, they aren't going to try to lose 115 games like the Orioles or some other teams might try. So
this will be a very strange year to try to tank, because there won't. I mean, the odds of there being a college season or or prep season to look for.
Yeah, the draft. Yeah, the draft might be
difficult.
The baseball draft is notoriously unpredictable as is, and it might.
Without being able to scout anybody.
Yeah, that's going to be difficult.
I mean, I guess there will be 40 rounds of players that weren't selected this season may also be in next year's draft thing too. So
it might be a very deep draft.
But then you're relying on your old data, and you don't know what's happened between now and then.
And if you only have to be good for 60 games, maybe you can sneak into a wild card spot or a division win, even if your team is not built to last a 162 game season. You can be like the 2003 Royals, get a hot start. And 2003 Royals would have been an easy division winner, even though they ended up, given their start, they finished 83 and 79 that year, but they were first place all the way through July into August, maybe even. So that Aaron Guile, Jose Lima,
Lima time, yeah.
Team.
The Don't Stop Believing season, right?
Yeah. Nosotros podemos. Together we can. Tony Pena Jr. Tony Pena Senior managing team.
Senior manager.
That was before Tony Pena Jr. made it to the team.
Right. Yeah. That sounds
so who do you like? Who do you like in the Central?
I still don't like the Twins. I don't expect them to win the division. I was surprised they won the division last year.
Yeah.
I think I would take the Indians.
I was thinking as well the Indians, but I'm going to stick with.
This is where you're supposed to take the Royals then, right? Because it's a short season. Anything.
I would like to take the Royals. Yes, I definitely would like to take the Royals. Now you're trying to again. I don't really want to pick the Twins. I don't think the White Sox or Tigers really have a shot. I don't think the Royals do either. But I would actually. I'm going to pick the Royals simply because.
You don't have to pick different. You could hedge and just take the same pick, and then they're both right or wrong together.
I know. That would be the wise.
We did that with the Dodgers though too, so it's not
with the Dodgers.
It's fair.
I really don't think the Royals can. If I had any glimmer of hope for the Royals, like if their pitching was good, but now with Hunter Dozier being out for a couple of weeks,
or at least a week anyway of the season, right?
Yeah, possibly their best offensive player, all-around offensive player. He's top 3 with Merrifield and Soler.
Yeah.
I don't think the pitching staff will be able to carry them. I think they need the bats to.
Well, it's winning the division too, not maybe they could be a wild card pick though too.
Possible. Yeah. I don't want to pick. I'm gonna pick the. I think the Twins are not as good as people think. I think the Indians are probably the pick.
Yeah.
I don't, as much as it pains me that if I could pick nobody to win the Central, I would be happy. But I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna
do it.
I'm gonna pick Cleveland. I'll pick Cleveland as well.
All right. AL East up next in last.
Yeah. Interesting. The Yankees are seen to be the big favorites, with the Rays maybe the second team.
Right. Well, that's how last year came out, right?
The Yankees, of course, were bitten by the injury bug last year, especially. Maybe if they can stay healthy, they can challenge the Dodgers as for maybe the most wins in the.
Their top pitcher, I think, is out for the season, though, right? Isn't Herman? Did he go down with an injury?
Oh, I don't know. Garrett Cole is there now, though. So
Cole's there, right? So okay, so they did, or Domingo.
Yeah.
Herman, right?
Yeah.
I think.
So.
But anyway, that doesn't matter. But they did get Cole, so that replaces that.
And you think, and I guess the idea, Aaron Judge might be healthy. Giancarlo Stanton might be healthy. Didi Gregorius might be healthy. All these people that are perennially injured, maybe they can last 60 games if they don't come down with.
Did you see that at bat from Judge? I guess 2 days, a day or two ago.
No,
2 days ago, where it was the inning was over, but the opposing team manager wanted his pitcher to get a little bit more work. So they agreed to have him throw to one more hitter, even though that inning was over. So there was a fourth.
Oh yeah.
At bat, I guess, and Judge was the next guy up and homered off of this young pitcher.
Oh.
Just destroyed.
Oh.
Pretty funny. Because it shouldn't actually have been even up, right? Because the inning was over. But
yeah,
for a certain circumstance, just to like play it out, manager put their pitcher thing down.
I guess it didn't matter. Yeah, that might be a good experience for him. At least it'd be fun. Maybe going to give him a home run that way, but it doesn't actually count. The Red Sox, I don't really know what's going on with the Red Sox. Why they are suddenly acting like a small market team when they.
I don't know. Yeah. Well, the Yankees have changed their strategy also by trying to be more promote from within instead of just poaching other teams' best players, right?
I don't think they're gonna let. Well, it's not like Stanton is cheap. Stanton is a huge contract, but I don't think they're gonna let Aaron Judge walk when he gets a chance.
That was a bad deal for Stanton, though.
Yeah,
Stanton ended up losing millions by going from Miami to New York just in the state taxes.
I guess that's true.
Seems crazy, right? But yeah, he did not come out well financially in that move.
Yeah. But
Blue Jays without a home.
Blues is without a home. They're still I think maybe a year or two away from really being
fully rebuilt anyway.
The Orioles are definitely rebuilding, maybe even tanking. Last year, it seems like they were, despite the Royals' best efforts at being the worst team in baseball, they still couldn't come that close to the Orioles. I think I'll let you pick the winner.
Yeah, this is going to be a boring pick because it seems obvious here, like it did in the NL West, that the Yankees are clearly trying to win, and they probably won't be as injured as they were last year.
Yeah.
Especially with the short season.
I would pick. It's like I want to find reasons to pick the Rays, but I think it's going to be the Yankees as well.
But it would make sense to pick the Rays as a wild card spot then.
Yeah, that's probably what I'm thinking of doing.
Yeah.
Give away my hand, but yes.
And I think, wild card picks then. I think you got to pick at least one from the East. It would make sense anyway because the bottom is seemingly far away from the top of that division too. Like Rays, Red Sox, one of the two is probably going to be up there. I think maybe the Red Sox bounce back this year.
Okay.
I'll take Boston, and I think I'll maybe pick the Angels out of the West as a surprise wild card appearance, finally making it into the playoff mix after spending all the money they did recently too.
Yeah. I like in the East. I like the Rays as the wild card team, and in the West, I'll pick the Astros, I guess, as the wild card. West.
Safe.
Yeah, I want to pick the Angels, but I think they're too top heavy. I think in a 100, maybe they'd be even better in a 162. But I know Trout is going to miss a few games because I think his wife is going to have a baby, and he's going to miss a few games. And so if you miss a few days, with this few number of off days, there's 66 days in the season, 60 games, and if you miss a week, that's a chunk of the season. And I think that could cost the Angels a game or two against the competition. So I'm going to say
their pitching staff isn't necessarily that strong as a whole, top to bottom at least.
Not top to bottom. They have, I think the number 1 through 3. I think they're pretty good, but I think beyond that, it's kind of
a lot of it hinges on how good Ohtani is, and I guess they're doing a very different deal with him this year. He's going to pitch every Sunday, is what they're going to do, instead of having him on a 5-day or 5-man rotation. It's just he's the Sunday starter.
Interesting. I like that idea. I actually like that idea.
It's a little bit interesting, anyway.
Yeah, if you can.
The Rays have that odd opener strategy also.
Yeah, the Royals might be openers this year, I've heard. So I like. I'm gonna say the Astros. I think their team is just too good to keep them out of the playoffs, even if some of that their success is attributable to less than savory methods.
Well, that actually makes an easy pick for you though, because you did not pick them to win the division, but they're
Yeah,
definitely going to
I
be
think
good.
keeping them out of the
So,
playoffs in general is a little bit riskier than I want to do, even though I would like, I'd like to see the Angels. So I'll say the A's win the West. The Astros are the wild card team. Cleveland wins the Central. Yankees win the East. Rays wild card from the East.
I've got Yankees winning the East. Red Sox is the wild card out of the East. Indians in the Central. Astros winning the West, and Angels with the second wild card.
All right. What do you want to do? World Series prediction?
So yeah, I guess we probably should. Yeah.
Okay. You want me to do? I'll do mine first.
Or maybe you pick your National League team first. I'll pick my American League team first, and then swap.
Okay. I'll pick my National League team first. I'll pick the Dodgers. That's again not very.
Dodgers. That's safe. That is very safe.
Dodgers is my National League team.
Do I stick with the Dodgers or do I just mix it up? Could go for a Nats repeat. Maybe the Brewers breakthrough.
Whatever.
I think I'll take that. I'll take the Nats.
Okay.
Making that, second 2 years in a row.
Interesting. Okay, I can see that.
And then AL. Let's see. Nah, I hate it. I think I have to pick the Yankees. Boring.
I'm Yankees as well. I think I have the Yankees-Dodgers World Series, which is I'm sure what many people want to see. I think it's also the rematch of the 1981 World Series, which I believe was also a strike-altered year. The Dodgers
Yankees-Dodgers?
Yeah, 1981 I think was the Yankees-Dodgers World Series.
I think they've met the most often of the because they met like many times in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, I think they met. Yeah, they met all the time when both teams were in New York, especially in the World Series.
Right. Yes.
And then 1981 was the last time they met in the playoffs. They played in the 70s, 1977, 78 World Series. That was when the Yankees had beaten the Royals in the ALCS both times.
Yeah.
And then the Yankees won 76, 77, 78. And then they won the World Series against the Dodgers in 77 and 78. So, but then 1981, the Dodgers won in the World Series. So that was the strike-altered year where they had like I think there was the shortened. Wasn't there an 81 strike?
That sounds right.
Like there was they had a first half winner and then a second half winner played in the playoffs. I think the Royals kind of sneaked into the playoffs that year, even though they weren't that good. And 1981 was the year that Fernando Valenzuela was the phenom rookie.
Right.
And I believe Goose Gossage, who had been, of course, the closer for the Yankees during their World Series wins in the 70s, was then the closer for the Dodgers in the 81 World Series. Tommy Lasorda's first win as a Dodgers manager. So I could see that I think that would be an interesting matchup, the Dodgers-Yankees. It would have a historic connection. So yeah, again, not very being pretty chalky here.
Yeah.
But
so who do you have winning it then with your Dodgers-Yankees?
I'm gonna say Dodgers.
Dodgers.
They're the best team, I think. Top to bottom.
I've got Yankees, Nats, and I'm gonna take the Yankees this time. I think.
Okay.
Which I don't like. I hope I'm wrong in some of these picks.
Okay. Well, that's
So then, let's say, for kind of the entire major leagues anyway, will any team, we set an over-under of 39.5 wins, will any team win more than 39.5 games? More than 39.5?
I'm going to say yes. I think a team will win 40 games. I think at one point, a couple episodes ago, I thought a team might win 43 games.
So a 40-win season in this shortened year is equivalent to 108 wins in a regular season, which is pretty tough to get to.
It's tough to get 108, but out of any 60-game sample, though, I think there are a lot of 40-win teams. And maybe because it's a start, it's a little bit odd. But I think, though, if some teams start hot, I think they will continue to try to stay hot, whereas teams that start slowly, I think, will be much more likely, even than other years, to play younger players and rest younger players. So they don't want to get people sick or injured this year.
Right. Yeah.
So it might be easier to win more games down the stretch than normal. Again, some teams might be tanking it if they're out of it. I think it's that might happen normally, but I think it might happen more so in this shortened season. So I think there might be more extremes in the shortened season. So I'm going to say yes, there will be a team that finishes with at least 40 wins.
So I think I would take the under on this one, just because I don't think necessarily teams are going to be tanking as much, because there's nothing to really tank for, because there's not really any scouting to find for the minor league teams, or to bolster their young talent. So there may not be as much tanking as we.
I can see individual players also maybe taking it easy.
Right, but yeah, there may be teams that players decide to stop playing, or they just decide to take the year off, or that there could be that. But I don't know that there's necessarily trying to lose, as opposed to just losing because they don't have any talent continuing to play, or if they're a positive test and they have to players, big time players miss games, then teams could sag pretty easily in this era.
Yeah.
But I still think that there will be teams that will lose a lot of games, maybe more games than the best teams will win. So the same question then on the losing side: will a team lose over under 39 and a half games?
I think so. I think there'll be a team that wins fewer than 20 games or loses 40 or more. So I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say there will be a really bad team.
And I would agree with you on that one. I think this time. I think it's harder to win. It's easier to be bad than to be good.
I think so. I think so too, because I think being good requires some luck as well to be that get that many wins. I think it's a lot easier to lose a game than it is to win a game, even though technically one team has to win, one team has to lose. But I think.
How about MVP? Should we pick MVPs?
MVPs, yeah. Do you have? So do you want to pick? We want to do AL first, NL first?
Let's do. Let's do AL.
AL first.
Yeah, who you got?
Okay. I think Cleveland might be a little surprisingly good. Maybe Lindor. I like him as a possibility. I
think he had decent odds. Is he second or third on the?
He is right
MVP
now.
List?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's number 5.
Yeah, okay. On the one, I think he was higher on the one I looked at.
On the one I see right now, he's 15-1. The Sporting News website. Mike Trout is plus 140. That's not odds. Those odds are good. And I think he's going to miss several games with the birth of a child, which will hurt him in a small sample size. And he does get hurt a lot too, it seems like, and
not enough to lose MVP races though.
Well, in a long season, you can miss 10 or 20 games and still play 140 games. But if you miss 10 or 20 in a short season.
Oh, if somebody misses 10 games, I think they're out.
They're out.
Yes, yeah.
And I think Trout's going to miss 4 or 5 games probably with just paternity leave. Again, assuming the baby. I don't know where I read or heard about the baby, but I think it was on my Visa network sports gambling station that I listened to.
Yeah.
That he's not maybe good odds to win the home run championship because he's definitely going to miss a few games. So I think
it's going to be hard to take an MVP away from him, I think. So that would be my pick still, even though it's
still Trout is your pick. I'm going to say
boring, but he wins it all the time. So why would they do anything different? The voters are already accustomed to voting for him, right?
I like Lindor. I'm going to say Lindor because he plays shortstop. I think the voters like a shortstop. Yeah.
They do?
I don't know. They like Jeter. I don't know.
No, that may be true.
All
right. How about the National League?
National League.
I think my pick changed today because of the
contract
signing. Contract signing. So
did it change to Mookie Betts or from Mookie Betts?
I wasn't going to pick him, but now I think he's it'll be more like trying to prove himself to have earned the contract. So, yeah. So that I think did he won the AL MVP last season, didn't he?
Yes, I think so.
So I think it'd be a good story.
He's won an AL MVP before.
It'd be a good story to switch leagues and then immediately win an MVP too. I think that would make sense to me, at least anyway, to go that. I would not have picked him if signing didn't happen today though.
Oh, okay, so this is Mike Trout. No, Mike Trout won it last year, but Betts won in 2018.
Yeah.
Trout won it last year. So Trout would repeat. He'd win his fourth in year.
Yeah.
And Betts would take it away because Cody Bellinger won it last year for the Dodgers.
Yeah.
So he would be the second Dodger in a row to win it. Yelich is always a good choice, I think.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of parlay or hinges on my prediction of the Phillies to win the division. I think Bryce Harper.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Could be the MVP of the Phillies.
He's got a lot to prove from his performance last season. So
yeah, I'm going to say Harper. I like Arenado. Or does he say Arenado or Arenado? I've heard it both ways.
I thought it was Arenado. I don't know.
Okay. That's how he would say it if it were Spanish. Yeah, I think Arenado has a good. He might be my home run pick if we do that next. Spoiler alert! But I think I'm going to say Harper as the MVP because I think the Phillies are. They're my sleeper kind of playoff team. I guess you thought they'd make the playoffs too, maybe, but they're my sleeper division winner in that tough AL East. I mean NL East. So yeah, I'm going to pick Bryce Harper.
He has won an MVP before too, right? So
he won in 2015 with the Nationals. So
we're not going too far out of people.
No, we're
already
picking
won them.
Yeah,
picking people that are predisposed to voters voting for them, right?
Yes.
All right. How about Cy Young awards? Good picks for those.
Yeah, Cy Young. I'm gonna say. I would think an Astro would have a good shot, but I think the voters are going to be soured against the Astros in award voting.
Mm-hmm. Some good choices there.
There are some good choices on the Astros. I think if Cleveland
does, we should always refer to them as the cheating Astros.
Yeah, I think if Cleveland does well, like somebody like Clevenger will have a good year. I think Snell is always a good choice. Yeah, I'm thinking of mine right now. I'm not quite sure who I would get. Garrett Cole maybe would be a good choice for the Yankees.
In New York, New York Park can be a little tougher to pitch in though too, with that short porch in right field.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Clevenger. I'm gonna say Clevenger for the Indians for Cleveland.
I think Verlander's doing some things that are probably not exactly legal for his longevity and increased velocity as he's aged. So I think it's pretty hard to go against him.
Okay.
Whatever he's doing.
He's following the Clemens pattern, it seems like.
Yeah. Don't like it, but I'm going to guess that's the most likely pick for me, at least anyway.
Yeah, I think I like Clevenger. I like that he's got the long hair. I like his. I think
he hopefully still has it. He didn't cut it during lockdown.
He did. I'm not sure. I like his. His stats are always really good. He's not always the most highly touted of the Cleveland starters. Maybe he is now, but I'm gonna say I'm gonna pick Clevenger. He I think right now is, at least from what I had seen, 14-1. Verlander was 5-1. Garrett Cole plus 250. And so I'm gonna go Mike Clevenger.
What was Clevenger in the?
Clevenger is 14-1 plus 1400. In the National League, we haven't done the National League Cy Young, have we?
What's next? Yeah.
That's next. Okay. In the for the NL for the MVPs, you said Trout. As the Trout was plus 140. I said Lindor plus 1500. NL MVP, you said Betts.
Yeah.
He's plus 600. Harper is plus 1500.
Is Betts the highest? I didn't look at that.
Acuna is plus 400.
Oh, I forgot about Acuna. Yeah.
And then Yelich is plus 450. Acuna's a good pick too, but I don't think the Braves will be that. I don't think the Braves will be as good this year. So I didn't pick them to make the playoffs. So
right.
I don't think they can be MVP. I don't think a player in this shortened season can be MVP if they don't make the playoffs. It's tough in a regular season, in a normal season, but I think it'll be especially tough in a shortened season.
So
because if you're not you weren't valuable enough to get them into the playoffs, even a short season, get hot for a little while. One person can carry a team for
several games at least.
Weeks. Yeah.
Maybe weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about your NL Cy Young then?
NL Cy Young, I like. Scherzer or Strasburg. The Nationals pitchers are always good.
Seems like those are the easy places to go.
Like Kershaw is always, he's maybe lost a little bit, but he's Yu Darvish.
He go through stretches where he doesn't do that well.
Right now Jacob deGrom is plus 350 favorite. I'm gonna say Scherzer for Cy Young.
I think I was gonna go with in the Nats still and with Strasburg.
Okay, so we're Nats either way. Okay, I think that's a good. Okay, so
any other full MLB predictions we should make before we move on to the specific Royals?
Maybe we should think. Do you think anyone will hit 400 or at least flirt with 400 through 60 games?
Short season, it's possible to have an extreme, right? So I still think no.
No.
How about you?
I think no as well, probably. What do you think the highest batting average will be? I think that might be a good bet.
Yeah. Are these Prices Right rules, or are they?
I'd say whoever's closest.
Whoever's okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. What's flirt with 400 though? Like 380 plus.
Yeah.
I'll say like about 360.
360. I think people are, again, I think hitting for average is not seen as being quite as important as it once was because of some of the sabermetric stuff, and people say on base percentage and home runs and things like that have kind of outshone batting average. Batting average still, though, is a kind of classic stat, of course. I don't think anyone's going to hit 400. I think I want to say above 360 though. So I'm going to say, and I want to give you a little wiggle room. So I'm going to say 368. I'll say somebody gets 360.
Oh, higher. Okay.
I'm going to say higher.
All right.
I think it's in the summer because I think if it were the first 60 games of a season, I think a lot of times people start slower because it's in April. Sometimes the ball doesn't carry as well, and the stats aren't quite as good. But I think sometimes in the summer people can get really hot.
True.
Like like George Brett in that 1980 season, he
season high last year was 335.
Yeah, that's over again a long time. I wonder what the highest stretch was.
60-game stretch.
60-game stretch. Yeah.
I think we'll need some to do some statistics. We come back to that some other time. I think.
Yeah,
I can put it up on the screen after we finish this.
Yeah.
If we can find it.
The George Brett 1980 season when he hit 390. That season, I think he didn't start out. Maybe he started out hot and then got really, really hot as the summer went on. I could see if I can see his game by game averages, but I think 368 is probably a little. I'm gonna I'll say 368. Why not?
All right.
Yeah.
What's the total home run total for the leader, MLB leader in home runs? Say.
So if it were,
you don't have to name them. Just
okay.
What's the number?
So you would say 162 games. Pete Alonso had 53, right, last year?
I think so.
And so that's roughly one every 3 games. So
like 20 would be a good season.
20 would be one every 3. But I think, again, out of a 60-game season, one of those big home run hitters always hits more than 20 in 60 games. And plus, these are going to be a lot of summer games. So the ball is going to carry. It's going to be hot. I think as well, without the pitching having as much kind of time to warm up in spring training and things like that.
Yeah.
That can also help the hitters.
Some guys have been hitting home runs already too. So I mean,
I'm gonna say 24 will be the home run leader.
Okay. I think I would go a little higher. I'll say 27. 27.
27. Okay. That leaves
one on either side of us.
Yeah, and there's not
Unless
gonna be
it's way over or way under, right?
There's not gonna be a push. Nobody's gonna hit 25 and a half home runs this year.
Yes, that's why I said 27. 27. I think there was no push. Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of let that because so if somebody hits 364, we'll have a push, but I wanted to leave a little bit.
Well, we can go to more digits though.
Yeah, I guess so.
Unless it is exact.
Although they don't count that, do they?
We can.
We can.
We know math.
We have a calculator. An abacus that we.
All right, so then we'll go ahead and throw out a wild guess as to who's going to lead the league in MLB and home runs. Then whoever between our two picks, whoever hits more home runs will get the one right.
Okay. Let me think. I'm gonna say. I think I said my guess was Nolan Arenado because I think because he's in Coors Field, I think he's a good hitter. I think he also will hit for a high average. So that means that he'll at least make Ian. I think he's less prone to go into slumps that way. And I think some of those like boom or bust players sometimes go into slumps. And so again, if they're booming, they could hit a lot. But yeah, I'm gonna say
Soler won the AL home run title last year.
Soler won the AL. He's plus 2,500. Arenado is also plus 2,500. Joey Gallo is plus 850. Trout is plus 1,000. Although, again, I've heard that's a sucker's bet because I think he's going to miss a few games.
True.
Pete Alonso, I think, is also a sucker's bet at plus 1,000 because usually the player that, like Mark McGwire, remember when he was a rookie, like in the 87, when we were kids, he hit like 49 home runs that first year, and then until he started using steroids, never even approached that number again. I think Harper's actually a good bet.
Okay, so pick the one you think is likely, and then we'll both pick a crazy one.
Okay.
So who you think is most likely is Arenado?
I'm gonna say Arenado. Yeah.
Okay, I'll go with Alonso won last year, right? So yeah, I'll stick with Alonso. Just repeating.
Okay, I call
right. And now your oddball home run.
Home run leader. I was like
outside chance. You don't really because it's a weird season, right?
Yeah, Hunter Dozier would have been maybe an interesting pick for the Royals, but he's not going to play that first week. Like we said, maybe Mike Moustakas because he's going to play. That's what I was going to say. He's going to play in Cincinnati.
Right? Yeah.
And it's a little park. He might get hot. He's, he pull it down the line.
No, neither of us thought about Aaron Judge though too, because he could be a big.
Aaron Judge could. Yeah, he's not a wild guess though.
No, I mean for the first one.
Oh, for the first one, Aaron Judge is. I think he's.
Yeah.
A good
bet. He's healthy.
Or Stanton. Stay healthy. Bellinger's also a good guess. I think there's a lot of ones. Harper.
Dozier would have been a good pick here for the oddball, but
that's
possible. Yeah, because Soler wouldn't be an oddball.
So are we both picking as our oddball Mike Moustakas?
Yeah, so maybe this one won't really count then. that was who when I asked the question. That was who I asked because I was going to pick Moustakas.
Okay, well I can pick somebody else. Let me pick somebody. I'll pick somebody else.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, I'll pick as my oddball as Aaron Judge. Will be my.
All right, no, that's fine. Let's do it.
As two players, Aaron Judge is American League and Arenado is National.
No, that's fine. We're just talking about MLB. No, that's good. Now we'll see who hits 4 more home runs between Moose and Judge, because Judge, was hurt for us.
Yeah,
last year, and Moustakas finally got his long-term contract, and so he may be like comfortable finally and not feeling the pressure to just playing for a career, right? Instead of just relaxing and crushing the ball, right?
Yeah, that's right.